And that's where we want to welcome in our first guest, political commentator and Newsmax contributor Michael Reagan, joining us live here on America Talks Live. He's also the son of President Ronald Reagan and the author of the book, Lessons My Father Taught Me. So a lot going on here with this actual pardon and potential other pardons.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to the news of Dinesh D'Souza, Martha Stewart could be on that list,
Rod Blagojevich?
Yeah, what do you think about this, Michael?
Well, are you on the list? I feel like I need to do something wrong so I can get on that list.
We only blanket pardons, Michael. Just blanket pardons
Blanket
from the Trump
pardons.
administration.
I mean, he's doing it like a pardon today. Aren't we used to this happening as the president is leaving office? He starts giving pardons to people. But no, this president does it during the administration. And I think, I think he's making right decisions on every one of these. I think he's right about Blagojevich. I mean, 18 years. Should he spend 18 years in jail? Probably not. Martha Stewart, Dinesh D'Souza. He's picking the right people to pardon. And there's probably some in there he should, in fact, commute their sentences also. So it's good to see him not waiting till the end of an administration to pardon people who should never have been pardoned, and instead pardoning people who, in fact, probably should be.
Yeah, Michael, about these pardons, I've always been of the school of thought that Dinesh D'Souza was specifically targeted. You understand politics better than most. What D'Souza did is very common bundling, right? Donation bundling among consultants, lobbyists, donors on both sides of the aisle. It was $20,000. I've always felt that Eric Holder's Department of Justice, they targeted D'Souza because of his content, his movies, his talks, his books, critical of the Clinton and Obama administrations. What do you think about that?
Absolutely right. Had he bundled for Obama, nothing ever would have happened.
Yep.
I mean, bundling in politics is about the same as sexual harassment in Hollywood. Guess what? It goes on. And it's always going to go on. And bundling is just part of what goes on in politics. But Dinesh D'Souza bundled for the wrong side. Therefore, he was made, the star, if you will, of that administration to try to put him in jail for a period of time. Had he done it for anybody else, never would have happened.
Michael, I also want to talk about North Korea. The White House says that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has just a full day of meetings today with one of Kim Jong-un's top aides. The two will continue to talk in New York today. They apparently had dinner last night. The Secretary of State said it was a good working one. Kim Jong-chol and Pompeo's talks will largely focus on rescheduling that summit that was set for June 12th, which Trump, as you know, canceled last week. As a good gesture, though, North Korea says it's willing, and I can't make this up, but it's willing to open a U.S. burger chain. Meanwhile, it was National Burger Day Monday, just for anybody who wasn't paying attention. What'd you say, Michael?
Just make sure it's hamburger.
Yes, exactly. But what do I always say, Miranda, that as much as it was President Reagan that brought down the Berlin Wall, it was McDonald's in Moscow and Levi's jeans going over the Berlin Wall.
Well, you bring up a good point.
Capitalism works.
You bring up a very good point.
Saying, no matter what the left says, no matter if nothing else comes out of these meetings, the fact that they are meeting is a positive, not only for the United States of America, it's a positive for the world. They are in fact talking. Now there's people out there who absolutely don't want anything good to come out of this, because God forbid we'd have to say something good about the President of the United States of America. But it is very positive that, in fact, they are, in fact, talking at this point, no matter what happens next.
Very positive, but is anything going to come about? And here's my point, because South Korea's unification minister reportedly told South Korea's news agency just today, in fact, that when it comes to finding common ground between the U.S. and North Korea, that it wouldn't be easy to narrow that gap, but not impossible. So let me ask you, do you have faith that Mike Pompeo has what it takes to bridge that gap?
I mean, Mike Pompeo is the right guy at the right time to go in these meetings. I've lived this before. I lived it during my father's administration with all the things that were being said about him and Mikhail Gorbachev. And ultimately, it was able to get worked out. But things take time. Things don't happen on a dime. Things like this take time. If something's going to happen, it's not going to happen tomorrow afternoon. It's going to take a period of time for, in fact, good things to come from this, if they're going to come at all.
Michael, let's switch gears and talk about the state of the GOP in your home state of California. Politico's reporting that the California GOP has basically been relegated to third-party status. Democrats make up nearly 45% of registered voters in your state, while no party preference and Republicans make up a bit more than 25% each. No party preference outnumbers Republicans by about 73,000, but the Washington Post just today published a story claiming that the Democratic Party in Southern California in particular is also in a bit of disarray, that there's a bit of backlash. So what's this telling you about the state of not just the Republican Party, but the Democratic Party?
And we're going to see if there's a backlash. There's a page and a half on my ballot of people running for governor of the state of California. A page and a half. Yeah. I think there's 27 people running for governor of the state of California. The problem is there is no Republican Party in the state of California. There's no money for the Republican Party. You're seeing ads now being run for the governor and lieutenant governor and all these other positions. There has not been one ad on television paid for by a Republican. If you're going to hear about a Republican running for governor, it's a negative ad from a Democrat, in fact, running for governor of the state of California. But the Republicans have no money to, in fact, do any battle on the air at all for the position of governor of the state, lieutenant governor of the state, or anything else in the state. And what you now have is you have the former mayor of New York, who is putting money into the other Republicans' race for governor to try and split the Republican ticket because he supports Villagrosa.
Yeah,
so
that's between. Is that against Cox? Because I know the president is supporting Cox for governor.
It's against Cox.
Right.
And the Republican Party would not, in fact, endorse Cox in the primary, or it's not even a primary, what we call a primary here in California.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Now, Michael, Cox has been supported by the President of the United States. The President, I think, has issued 2 tweets that I've seen. There could have possibly been more. So is this also establishment Republican backlash in California against President Trump as much as it is against Cox?
No, the Democrats are running against President Trump. If you watch any Democrat ad, they're running against President Trump, and they tie Cox to Trump, and that's what they're doing. But that's the only time you hear the name Cox. Now, he's taking out ads on cable television and radio and things of that nature, but he doesn't have the money to do the big TV ads on CBS, NBC, ABC, and what have you. I endorsed him during the Republican programs that were taking place a couple of weeks ago when they had their convention here. So I've endorsed him, but the fact of the matter is there's a lack of money for the Republican Party, and the RNC in Washington, D.C. doesn't spend any time spending any money. It's interesting. All these politicians come to California to do fundraisers, and then they leave. They don't spend a dime here, as far as I know, helping the Republican Party in the state of California.
Interesting. Yeah. Michael Reagan, thank you as
Thanks,
always.
Michael.
We appreciate your time, and you can always look forward to reading his articles by visiting our website, newsmax.com. Good to see you.